Hello everyone. Today I am going to explain theoretical versus experimental probability. So, first let's look at this. Actually, let me explain first. So, theoretical probability is what you think that the outcome would be. So, what it would be theoretically. And experimental probability is when you try it and what the outcome. So I'll give you an example of theoretical. Theoretically, if you flip a coin 10 times, 50% would flip heads. But you don't know for certain until you try and flip a coin 10 times, because it might be 7 might turn out heads, 2 might turn out heads, 1 might turn out heads. So theoretically, 50% chance. Experimentally, you would have to experiment. So let's look at this. First, let's do theoretically. So for theoretically, you would forget that these numbers are there. So one spinner, this spinner, was spun 60 times. There were 3 colors on the spinner: red, blue, and green. Find both theoretical and experimental probability of red. So if we just look at this spinner and we forget that the numbers are there because that's for experimental. So we look at the spinner and we see, okay, so there are 3 equal parts, and there are 3 equal parts. So there's red, green, and blue. And they're, again, equal parts. So basically, 100%, okay, is when you divide it into 3, it becomes about 33%. So our theoretical would be about 33%. If you want to find it in a fraction form, then you would say that 60 is your total amount spun, and you have to find 1/3 of 60 because it's split into 3 equal parts. So it would be 20 over 60. So 20 times it would land on red. Now, let's find the experimental. So experimental we're going to find in blue. Now, because we know now the amount of times that the spinner landed on each color, we can find the experimental probability. So instead of 20 over 60, it would be 28 over 60. I'm doing it in red because I'm talking about red. So instead of 20 over 60, it would be 28 over 60, because now we know how many times the spinner spun. We know exactly. Now, to find the percent, we have to find it in decimal form. So in decimal form, to make it decimal form, you would divide the numerator by the denominator. And so 28 divided by 60 is 0.46 repeating. And to find that in a percent form, you would do dupe. So dupe is putting the decimal 2 sides to the right. So it would be 46.6%. So we know that 33 and 46.6, or if you want to round up, 47%, are very close. So we would write that our experimental and our theoretical are very close. And that's it. That's how you find experimental and theoretical. If you have any questions, comment down below or DM me on Instagram or wherever. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something.